So, hello, friends. My name is Steve, and we're here to discuss the last several chapters. I forget the exact numbers, but we'll be discussing A War to End All by Michael R. Fletcher and Clayton Snyder. Thanks again to Fletcher for the intro and outro music. Really appreciate the assist with that. That's awesome. And we'll kick it off. Joshua, will you start us off with an introduction, please?
Yes. Hello, I'm Joshua, and I'm a member of the Page Chewing Forums.
Yes.
Yeah, and Varsha.
That's a credential, isn't it? I'm a member of the Page.
That's the biggest thing in my life right now.
I'm Varsha. I am also a member of the Page Chewing Forum, member and proud. I also have a YouTube channel called Reading by the Rainy Mountain. And, I finished this book last week immediately after our previous discussion. So I may or may not remember all the details, but there is, of course, the ending, which I'm very eager to talk about.
Yeah, I have thoughts. So don't forget, Varsha, you're an admin on the forums. Don't forget.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Not only am I a member, I'm an admin.
Be nice to Varsha. She'll drop the,
I have magic powers.
I'm so scared
drop the
right
pan
now.
hammer. Yeah. So
It's almost as good as having magic powers. Maybe better.
maybe better. Yeah. So, a delusion, you may say. Even bit of some delusion.
Ooh.
I know I enjoy it, but so yeah, I have thoughts on. So I think, okay, I'll let both of you start out. What did you think? What are your thoughts?
Joshua should go first. You finished the book like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Thoughts? For me, perfection. As in, I wished it was going this way, and at a certain point, it was like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And he did it. He blew the whole thing up. I loved it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask Joshua, we talked about this last week, so I was curious, at what point in the book did you think that the ending might just be the literal end of the world?
Doubt.
That's it.
The moment I read about doubt. That was the character that made so many things possible that if he starts doubting something, it disappears. And at a certain point, I was like, this whole world is going to disappear.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it at the point when he turned an entire city into cardboard?
Yes. Yes. And then the scenery.
I think.
And then himself. And he fell down. Sad face.
That was brilliant.
That was... I mean, if I would have thought about that at that moment, that was exactly what I would have written down. Because it was so funny and so thought-provoking, like, where does it end when you stop thinking or stop being? And it also get mentioned, of course, with every aspect of the doppels. You've got the perfection and the others, and suddenly they see the only way to fix the world is to make it end, disappear, go back to zero, the perfect number 0. So yeah, couldn't be written better.
Nice. Yeah. I like the ending a lot. I'm grappling with what the larger point of it all is. Like, is there a message in the book? And if so, what is it? Like, because on the face of it, it feels like we all suck and deserve to die. But maybe not. Yeah. Maybe it's not quite as simple as that.
It could be. It could be. He always said, Michael R. Fletcher always said, like, I'm just a simple man with simple needs and simple thoughts, and I just write things down. So it could be that is the whole point, the whole picture that you're summing up right now. I mean, we're gonna hear from him when Steve talks to him again, and then Steve, you have this question to pose to him.
Well, I invited you to it, so
Yeah.
maybe you can ask him.
Wait, did you?
Yeah, it's on the forum. You can check it. Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk. Yeah. I was kind of surprised because I thought it was actually like a hopeful ending. I kind of felt like kind of a touching ending, I thought. And
Yeah.
I think part of me expected this big blow because you think a war to end all on the cover and I'm so glad I have the paperback because this cover is beautiful. And
yes.
we missed all the artwork in between, all the different designs and all the different character artwork. Really great.
I didn't
really great
know
artwork.
it got really. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, really great stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of expected like this big blowout, huge battle, and then I thought, once I was finished, I thought, why did I expect that? Because none of these, it's not really what this book does. So why was I expecting that? And I kind of like that we didn't have that because it just felt like a slow, crumbling, just like decay. Everything's kind of just like falling apart around them. But I thought it was a little bit for as dark and as like self-depreciating, I guess, as it was. I think the end was almost hopeful in a way. I kind of felt like one of the things that stood out was we see the world the way we see ourselves.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of like the message behind it all is, and I guess you could tie that into delusions and things like that, but because the way that they saw themselves is the way that is what their delusions developed into, and also sacrifice. I thought Morgan's sacrifice, that his realization that is really sacrifice. I thought it was, and the artwork too. Before that chapter, I believe he has his arms spread out. It almost looks like a crucifixion. I think that was the chapter. But yeah, I thought, and then I also liked the obsidian figure that was like, has no one claimed this realm? I
That's
thought that
why
was really neat.
that I wanted to talk about that like so much in the beginning. It was like, does it have a connection to the other books? I hate that my other books are not here, but the idea like all the realms are connected. It felt like that. Like, okay, so I need to read those other three because one of them is definitely named with obsidian. So I'm hoping. I don't know yet. I'm hoping.
Yeah. I think, Steve, I also expected a battle, and I wonder if it's because the book is called A War to End All, and we expect battles and wars, but it's just sort of an us against the world kind of war. It's not an actual battlefield war. I guess it's more metaphorical war. So, but I like that it both maybe the setup of that expectation is deliberate. Like, yeah, there's many reasons to expect battles because one, it's a fantasy, epic fantasy. I don't know what qualifies as an epic fantasy versus just a regular fantasy, but we expect a lot of battles in fantasy. The title War puts us up to thinking about battles, I suppose. So I think it was pretty clever and possibly brave to not have battles and just the slow crumbling of the world. I did really appreciate that. Not least because I don't enjoy battle scenes, but also it was different and different in a very wonderful way, I think. So.
But there were lots of battles, especially with themselves. Of course, Morgan has the most battles with himself the whole time.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. It's not just battles on the field, right? All those private battles too.
Yeah. I didn't like the two characters that we followed in the first two books, Wichtig and Stelen. those chapters felt so disconnected throughout the whole book for me. They, especially the Stalen one, I wasn't quite sure where it was going, and then with the infinite loop she got herself into, that was an interesting twist. I was like, okay, that's that then. Okay.
Yeah.
And Wichtig was that was the one thing that I don't like about predictability. Like the guy, the boy that wants to be the greatest swordsman. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be his son. This is definitely going to be his son, and especially when the name, his name that he gives himself is Pech, and that's bad luck.
Oh, okay.
So it was like,
Okay.
yeah. And what was his real name again?
Something with an F,
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah, but I can't remember it.
Let's see.
Yeah, I thought that was... I'll be honest, there wasn't a lot in the series that moved me. But that scene with his son, I thought was really well done. And yeah.
But it was predictable. That was my biggest issue with that. It felt like, oh, this is gonna come. This is, I can see this from miles away. The son is undermining his confidence so that he becomes slower and more like an old man, so he would stop this conquest of being the greatest swordsman and come home. That's the whole idea. And I felt like, yeah, he's not gonna do that. He's gonna stab this boy. There we went.
Did you see that coming, Steve? I didn't. I mean, I guessed and even hoped that it would be his son, but I didn't. I was never sure.
No, I think Fletcher had set up in book 2, because he had the apprentice in book 2 that was like fodder that just like died horribly.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of a setup for it. And then wasn't there another time when he thought that someone was his son, but it didn't turn out to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of set that up a little bit. Like there was some, well, is it though? Like, is it his? I thought that his apprentice would kill him, was what I thought was going to happen.
I was hoping.
Yeah.
But where did it go from there then? So I understand the decision for doing that. His son was Flug, fast.
Oh, okay.
Fast in my language, I don't know the German, it's the same, but it was like, felt like fast. He died fast.
He did, yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That scene.
But it didn't gut punch me, because I knew it was going to happen.
You also figured that he was going to get killed.
Yeah. The one I couldn't predict was Taboo.
Taboo. What happened with him again?
So he goes to the tribes and gets himself eaten, and the tribes kill everybody.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That went very horribly wrong very fast.
Yeah, that one was actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who else? Stellan's time loop, we've got to talk about that. What did you guys think? I love that they didn't explain what the heck happened with Stellan, you know? That she ended up in Maya's body, okay. Then she ended up in her time loop. And we're going to tell you absolutely nothing about how any of that happened. Where is she? Is she in the after death, or is she in the real world? And where is Liebendig? Is she real? Is she a product of Stellan's delusion? Like nothing. This is just the fate she found for herself, and we don't know how it came to be. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I kind of wondered, because around the time Morgan lost his powers is when all this started happening. And with Morgan pulling her and Wichtig back, I thought maybe that they were starting to slip back into the after death because he lost his power, or he lost his following, and maybe there was something that he was doing to hold them, and they were already having weird visions and things like that. So I thought maybe that's when they started slipping, and because there was a consequence of him pulling them back. So I thought maybe that they were stuck in like this weird limbo kind of place.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, that's something to think about.
Yeah. But that's the nice thing. Like, there's no clear-cut, like, explanation. It's, maybe it's this, or maybe it's that, or maybe, it's a product of the world crumbling to pieces. Which, now I think about it, maybe the message is hopeful, not that everything sucks and needs to go. It's more, we can do better, so let's start over and see where we go.
Start from scratch.
I like that.
But that seemed like a fitting ending, though, for her.
Yeah. It's a bit. I'm hoping she can break out of it every time, because it ends in utter devastation for her every time. But that feels wrong. Like it needs to be better than that. Eventually, maybe she will. Maybe each time she grows a little bit.
Well, everything disappears in the end. Does she disappear then as well? Does everything that she made disappear as well? Because there's nothing left except for the obsidian statue. And that's.
But her little time loop.
What is the guy's name again from the last book?
Bedekt.
What? Bedekt, yeah. So he truly is gone. There's nothing left of him. He is off the stage and completely erased, and everything else follows him. Just everything else follows him. He's gone. Everything else is gone. Perfect ending, done. It's the first book I've ever read that does that, I think. White pages.
So you're
nothing.
saying Bedekt made the world crumble.
I think he's the drop that was needed to empty the bucket.
The Obsidian Path. That's the other series. Where was I? The prologue that's what Morgan uses, right? To do the thing he did, which I forgot what it was he did. Honestly, how did Morgan die?
He sacrifices himself. Well, actually, he realized, he started to understand sacrifice, and Gahirin, is it Garen?
Yeah.
Burns him.
Gahirin, yeah.
Gahirin. She burns him, and she, I thought she's one of my favorite characters. And she just burns him to ash.
She wants to make the world perfect. Burn everything. I think of all the characters that she made the biggest strides over the 3 books. She will never be used again. She will cleanse everybody and everything, and she gets there in the end. It's like she becomes stronger in her mind and with her powers as well. So she's a great character, even though that she was written it felt she was written in the previous books like she's a side character. In the end, she's like, you die, you die, you die, everybody dies.
and the death that she inflicts is permanent. That was really interesting. In that she brings about utter destruction, and maybe she's the only true deliverer of peace in the world, because otherwise they end up with the after death. there isn't, other than Bedect, I suppose if you don't believe in the warrior's credo, you don't end up in the after death, but everybody else, perhaps if you're sane, you don't end up in the after death. But even the sane people potentially believe in some sort of after death in this world, right? Maybe they worship a god or whatever.
That was a funny scene. That was, when Taboo asks the guy that travels with him, the child, Langus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to the church here. So I'm gonna ask your God, and an old man falls from the sky. I'm like, did he just kill God? I think he did.
Yeah.
And then he kills an elephant god, and then he kills and it's like, huh.
Oh, he killed an elephant god? Okay, why? How did I miss that?
He's killing every god. Everything falls from the sky because he's so sane that he doesn't believe in anything. So that's another character that doesn't believe in anything. And then he just kills him and starts chewing on the bone, I guess. Or what is it? The finger bone.
I was sure some of them were references to Hindu gods. How did I miss the elephant reference?
Yeah, I thought something like that appeared in there, but it's, come on. I think there are plenty of normal people in that universe, and that they don't go to heaven or warrior thing or whatever. Depends on what you grew up with, like in real life. If you grew up with religion in your family, it could be that you believe that there is an afterlife, or that you are destined for something else, or reincarnation or whatever. And yeah, it depends on where you are. And in that book, you can see there are many different religions, or just people who believe in themselves, that they have powers or whatever. It's all up in the mind.
Yeah.
Was the after death, was it cleared out? Because it seemed like when the other deity came towards the end, that they made the deal that Morgan would have the living and the deity would have
I finally
the after
have
death.
something, but there is no after death.
It's gone.
If there are no people believing in the after death, so
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So
the obsidian god took over an empty realm. Do you guys think, I know, Steve, you haven't read The Obsidian Path yet, right? And Joshua, have you read it?
I have the 3 books in Sweden. Okay. Yep, I see them.
So, nice. Yeah, I'm wondering if this is the end of the story or the beginning.
Those
for
books
that
were
series.
before, written before, so I don't know. You never know, because there are plenty of books that have prequels suddenly written after them. So
yeah.
But I think because the statue is there, that it has to be before. If there is a link, of course.
Yeah. Seems.
Because the statue is like,
it should be linked
again.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that the thing he says in the end? When he's floating.
Yeah, it just says fuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, alone, bereft of faith and followers. The god awaited the end of yet another age. Fuck. There you go.
This world is dying.
Yeah, and it says, this time, however, not a single soul populated either the dwindling underworld or the more colorful world of the living. If there is nobody, it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody to believe in something, then it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's how you kill your gods. If you stop believing in God, you kill God.
Yeah.
That's something in real life as well. If there is no counter evidence, of course, like real touchy thing, but if everybody stops believing in God, God doesn't exist.
Mm.
That's not 100% correct, of course, because it could still be with the if you don't believe in something, does it exist or doesn't exist? That's a whole different conversation. But that's the idea in the book. I mean,
Yeah. I like that. I always wonder about the source of that mythology because, I could be very wrong about this because I'm not a good student of Hindu mythology, but I don't think that's a thing in Hinduism, that gods only have power as long as they have worshippers. I encountered the concept for the first time when I read American Gods. And I sort of assumed that Gaiman made it up. But then I've since come across it in so many books that, what is that? What is the root of that? Is it Norse mythology or Greek mythology? Any of those like older religions that have this belief system that gods only have power as long as they have worshippers?
I'm not sure. Even though I'm religious, but could you put it in another context, as in not a god but a human being. We die our final death if nobody remembers us, because then
like Coco.
There's nothing. But there's nothing of evidence that you were ever there. So, and then you can apply that to the god. But I don't know if there is anything like ancient mythology that, references that. I read the Norse mythologies and didn't find it there. So I don't know about Steve. You know anything? It's an interesting thought, though.
Yeah, at least that's what's been adopted in this book. I like that. I think overall, for me, the word that best describes this book, not being very well read in fantasy, is that it's just very different. In so many ways, right? Like the fact that it's unclear whether Morgan is really a god or not. Does he believe that he's powerful because people believe in him and that's where his power comes from, or is he an actual god who has powers? The thing that I mentioned with Stellan, where it's just like there's no explanation there. Zukunft, we just like forgot about her, and that's fine. I don't care that we did. So, it's just very different. I'm really glad to have read it. I think I mentioned this before. I don't know if this is a book that I would have picked up on my own, but like having this group to discuss with, it's been a lot of fun.
It's one of the more unique fantasy books for sure. Sorry, Steve.
No, it's I was just thinking about what you just said, Varsha, about whether or not Morgan was a god, and whether or not he was a god, or was because people believed he was. I guess you can equate that to any god. I mean, if you don't believe that there is any god of any religion, then is there really a god? I guess it's, and I also wonder if there's because I've talked to Fletcher about this too, about there's a character, Enomi. I think she's in Beyond Redemption. She's one of the zombie soldiers, like one of the like the hunters, the bounty hunters of the. She has a short story in his collection, and there was. I wondered if it can also be kind of like if we perceive people have control over us, and they do, and I think that may tie into the kind of the message of the book of, that kind of what I took away from it was that kind of like, what we see in others is what we see in ourselves. And if kind of like do we give things power, and the more we believe in something, the more power it has over us?
Powers if people believe in the cult leader. If he has no followers, he doesn't have power.
Yeah. even just in your personal life, if you give someone power over you, then whether it's real or not, if you perceive it to be, then they have it, and you can become this almost like a slave to them, to this person that may not even exist.
And it's not so easy to release that the belief that you have.
Yeah. I think that comes back to what we were talking about before on how this series does a lot of commentary on real life situations by basically exaggerating the hell out of them and showing them to us as these big delusions, right? But you can find real life equivalents and say, yeah, it's actually true that this happens in real life, and it's because I believe it to be true in more instances than not, because I'm giving this thing power over me. So I agree with you, Steve. I think that part of the book, or that bit of commentary, is really well done.
Yeah, because once people stopped giving Morgan power, he didn't have any power. He was useless. Squishy.
Maybe that's the whole message.
Yeah.
That's a good message. That's a very good message.
I especially knocked for all the buildup we had for him, and like he was plotting, and then the way he died.
Oh my God! Stab, dead. Okay. Another one.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I loved all their endings. I don't remember all of them, but I loved reading each one.
For perfection, it was being zero, not being there.
Yeah.
The only one I really don't remember is the one of the one with the viruses and all the stuff that is happening to him. Contamination. I
forget what happened to him.
Yeah, what did happen to Contamination?
He saw Wichtig at the last moment. Yeah, Contamination stood in the foothills.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then he died how? I know only Wichtig is left. Well, I think he died because Morgan died.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because once Morgan died, then they died.
Yeah.
Ooh. What do you guys think of the fact that Wichtig is the only one still alive? And if the world... So, it seems like the world didn't go, just it was emptied of all the people. And it looks vastly different now. Some parts of it are cardboard. And Wichtig is still out and about.
Not going home to his wife,
So is he... So if the world is getting like a reset button, is he just going to, because he was hungry, he was thirsty, he was I got the impression he wasn't going to make it too much longer. But did the whole world get reset, or was it just this area? Because it seems like he's just walking and it'll eventually catch up to him too. So is he just walking and trying to escape the inevitable again of trying to run away and trying to avoid? So I wondered, is he, because they talk a lot about in the mountains and the people, like different cultures and different people that don't believe the same things. But does a whole world getting erased? This realm, what is this? Or is he just kind of walking to somewhere else, like he's going to start over again?
Yeah, that's interesting. Because all the doppels and reflections, I guess, they were destroying the part of the world that they were in their own ways. And there were pretty local effects, right? Like with Doubt and Taboo causing those wars between the clan chiefs, and Doubt with his making everything into cardboard. But Perfection had a moving thing coming towards him, and I don't think he was causing it. There was just, the world was crumbling into pieces. I think that wave of darkness would probably have arrived to where Wichtig is. But it's also possible that the mountains actually bring you out of that realm. Because that conversation between Morgan and Koenig, in which Morgan quotes from the old text, which also we read in the prologue, I thought that was interesting. I wanted to discuss that, except I can't. So deep their need, so desperate their flight from their bitter past, they ignored the one truism all must bow before. Belief defines reality. So this bit, I think, is what Morgan quotes to Koenig, if I remember correctly.
And you said belief defines reality.
Yeah.
You believe
they forgot
is what happens.
Yeah.
Like, that's through the whole 3 books. If you stop believing, everything's gone.
Seeking to free themselves, they fled to a world of delusion, a world uncorrupted by jealousies and psychosis. And yet, in the end, even this they would pollute. Am I misremembering that that's the exact bit that he quotes at Koenig? I was trying to figure out, I didn't sit down and think about it because I finished the book at 2 a.m. and I went to sleep and then I forgot to figure out what happened. But it sounds like this is the world that the gods created. And so with the delusions, and they created humans who had delusions, and now everything needs to be destroyed. So now they're sort of escaping into another world, or someone's recreating the world from scratch. One of those is happening. Because it also says, and the cycle continues. So do we think the cycle's continuing, or do we have a proper, fresh chance now?
If you look at what happened to Stelen, then there's a cycle that is continuing. And at the end of Wichtig, his chapter, he was thinking to himself, there was only one thing he was good at, and that was killing people with a sword. And then his mind says, you left your sword by your son's corpse. And he says, I'll find another. He believes that he will find another. So probably it starts again.
Oh, yeah, that's the other question I had about the fact that Wichtig is alive and he has delusions. Do we think that his delusions are what will shape the new world?
If you are the only person there, then you're the most powerful person there if you have delusions. I think so.
Right?
He's a great swordsman, for sure.
Yeah. For sure this time.
Finally made it. Not quite the way he wanted, but he made it.
But yeah, if there are no people opposing you with their opposing thoughts, I say he exists, you say he doesn't exist, then you have stalemate. But if he doesn't have anything against him, the sky's the limit. Painted with birds on them, like the reverse W's. With doubt. It's interesting. It's all interesting. Everything about this series is interesting because it gives me, every time I think about it, like, what was that thing he had, that mental disorder? Oh, I could do this, but what if? And everything is pure, unadulterated imagination. Turn up to 11.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it sounds like the gods. I think it mentions the gods, the original gods abandoning them. So when the obsidian figure comes back, I think they're just gonna another cycle begins. So I think it's just like a never-ending cycle of almost like a science experiment. Seems like, or try it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, also the fact that we didn't get to know who the lady god was who wanted the whole world done. The one the horse mentioned, or whether she really exists even. There was a wall of darkness coming at the world. So That seems to be her doing. At least that's how I read it. What did you guys think was the source of that? The one that perfection sees.
I wasn't sure if that's really happening or not.
Yeah.
I see something else, by the way, at the end the before the alone again and fuck, not a single soul populated either the dwindling underworld or the more colorful world of the living. So wichtig.
So wichtig.
Disappears?
Wichtig made it. Wichtig made it.
Yeah.
Or that's what the Obsidian Lord thinks.
Yeah, in the other books that he has with the gods, book 3 is coming December, I think. Was it November?
City of Sacrifice, is that what that's called? Yeah.
That's also a book that I'm like, is this set in the same universe again? Because it's constantly with gods, and the old gods were destroyed by the new gods. So I need to reread those.
Yeah. How does it compare to these books in terms of like...
These are...
themes and...
themes. They're simpler, in my opinion, because it has a structure. So you have the city with people who are worth nothing, and they worship these gods, and then you have the people who are the workers, and then you have the people who are the priests, and there's a structure, there's a hierarchy, and it's simpler because it doesn't play in the whole world. It's just in that city or temple, whatever it was. So yeah, it's hard to describe. These books are deeper, give more things to think about. So this trilogy is, in my opinion, better. Well, because it's harder and more stuff to think about. That's the only thing I don't want to give too many spoilers.
Did Witchtig live? Because it's
weird.
I think he might not have.
I know. This time, however, not a single soul populated either the dwindling underworld or the more colorful world of the living. If there is not a soul,
alone, bereft of faith and followers, the god awaited the end of the yet another age.
Yeah.
He had overseen the death of sons, brought ages to cataclysmic ends, and had seen this before.
Yeah.
Interesting. A fitting ending, though, I think.
Yes, excellent. Varsha?
Oh, you're on mute.
How did I do that? I think... Wait, does the space button mute?
Let's see.
Yeah. And you're stop muting yourself.
So the space button doesn't unmute. It only mutes.
It mutes but doesn't unmute. That's very inconvenient. Yeah.
Excellent.
I had my book accidentally land on the space button. That's what happened. The Obsidian Lord. So the voice we know Morgan had a voice in his head, which he thought was, his own decision making, but it was actually the Obsidian God talking to him, right? Did you guys feel like the voice within Victic, which very much sounded like the voice of reason, and quite unlike Victic for that reason, was also the Obsidian God, but I don't see how that would happen.
I think he got it after he went through the trauma of killing his own son.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So
Or it got amplified. Either way, he started to go more insane.
Yeah.
What did you both think about? I'm sorry, Varsha. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to be silly. I was going to say that he's the only one his Gefargeist powers could influence. So that's what it's boiled down to now.
Yeah, Steve?
Yeah, you were saying, Steve.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. No, I was going to ask what you both thought of Koenig's ending.
The multiple doppels, and then... Oh, gosh. I thought I was being good by finishing this early, and I don't remember anything. I should have taken notes. That's what I should have done.
It's on page 409 in the paperback.
Yeah, great. I don't have the paperback yet.
Yeah, I know, sorry. When you've taken my last flaw, I'll be nothing. So it's almost... that was another... like we're all flawed and... I thought was his... yeah.
Oh, yeah. He said, when you've taken my last flaw, I'll be nothing. I think you just read that, Steve. Yeah. Sorry, I was distracted. Yeah. But, that was interesting. That, I don't fully remember, but I think what I felt at the time was surprise that Koenig defines himself in terms of his flaws. Like, he's not even trying to fix them, which is weird because he spent his entire life that we've known him fighting all his delusions, right, with the Doppel and then the Cotardus delusion and so on, but then he defines himself as his flaws. Maybe flaws are different from delusion. Maybe I'm wrong to collate those two, but yeah, it was just surprising that he defined himself, like he identified himself with his flaws.
Yeah, on the page before, that's when Morgan, I'll make you clean. You hate yourself because you understand how undeserving of love you are. I can take that too. He took his desperate need to be accepted to rule every social situation and grew in power. You're stealing all that I am. And when I've taken your last flaw, you will be the perfection that remains.
Yeah.
We are our flaws. We're our warts and blemishes. We're the scars, the lessons hard learned.
If you're perfect, then are you, or just another cog in the machine? As in the same as everything else that is perfect. If everybody's perfect, then is everything the same or not?
Yeah. I guess the point is it's wrong to strive for perfection.
Or our blemishes make us us. That's what I get out of it.
Yeah. Like embrace them. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that it was like a, like I was like, aw, like after all.
And it's so abruptly.
Yeah.
Again. Takes a knife. Stab.
Takes a knife. Yeah. Erased it from reality. Yeah. I guess this sort of explains what was wrong with what Morgan was doing in a like really short summary, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah.
I am
I wish I remembered more. Sorry.
I'm so intrigued if I get to read it again, what I get out of it next time. Because like you have with the other series, like this one feels on par with what is the series you're reading now?
Prince of Nothing.
Prince of Nothing. If you reread it, I'm sure I just read it. If I'm going to reread it, I will get more out of it. Same for Stephen Erickson, his books. If I will reread them, I will get more out of it. And every time there will be some new nugget of information, and I will be, that's something I missed last time. Now we're backtracking across the book, like, oh yeah, I remember this and I remember that. But if we read it again, I think we're gonna find so much more to talk about again. This is one of the series. It's going to be my rotation for many years to come, I think. There aren't many books. There are a lot of books that I read, and I'm like, yeah, I've read this book, and it was a good book. It could have been amazing, but I don't think I'll ever read it again. And this series is definitely on my to read again list. I don't know about you guys. You did it already, of course, Steve. But
yeah,
now you've got the ending, the last book. You think you're up for a third time?
Yeah,
Not now.
It's a series I'll read again. Years. I think eventually.
Yeah.
What about you, Varsha?
Yeah.
I think I might. I don't know. So I really enjoyed reading it, but I wouldn't put it on my list of favorites, you know. And it's not because I didn't like it. Like, I mean, of course, I did really enjoy it, and I thought it made great points throughout. But for me to reread, I think I need a lot of I guess quotable quotes, if that makes sense, like a lot of stuff that I want to think about again, which this obviously gave me. Like it, we twisted our minds into pretzels as we contemplated how the delusions work in the world. But I feel like I could be wrong about this. I'm not opposed to rereading it, but I don't see myself doing that anytime soon. Like, I'm not marking this down as a favorite for reread, because I feel like everything that I could get out of it intellectually / philosophically, I got. And I don't know. But again, like I'm sure there's things that I'm missing that I would get again if I reread. Like, I'm not saying it'll be a useless reread. I just not anytime soon. I think. I
understand completely. It's for me, as I said, it's one of my favorites. The whole series, but it's a hard series to recommend at the same time, because I understand that it's definitely not for everyone. A lot of people will read it and go like, yeah, this whole system doesn't work for me. It's too vulgar, and it's just not inspired. Maybe I wouldn't believe them, but you know, it's for me. Yeah, every time I think about the book, and I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this with other people in my groups here, and it's like, please try. But it's still a hard sale. It's tough to get sold to people.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Kind of reflecting on the trilogy, I think I'm trying to think of other trilogies I've read and where it fits. I think Ash and Sand is probably my favorite. Well, that and Prince of Nothing, and I think this would probably be top 3 maybe on trilogies.
Ooh.
For sure, top 5. I'm
finished the other trilogy last week when I was sick. So Ash and Sand, and I can see it. Yeah.
So I think these kind of things take time to like declare it. Like, what am I all time? I think sometimes you need some space and you need some like kind of digest and reflect on it.
Am I still thinking about this book years from now?
Yeah, because I've read Beyond Redemption 2 years ago and I still thought about it. It was
same.
But so yeah, I think it's one of those where you can really enjoy something. You can get through the whole series and be like, I like that, and then you move on, and you don't really think about it again. There's other ones that kind of stick with you, whether it was because you really liked portions of it or a character or whatever it may be. So I think it takes time to kind of reflect back. But as of right now, I'd say at least top 5. For sure.
I think that's high praise.
At least top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, so I feel like on the thinking about it a lot aspect, this one, certainly, there's so many, it could be because we've been reading this for a while, but I feel like I will also continue thinking about it in terms of, because of such excellent commentary on the things we do to ourselves that, like just, it's such a simple yet powerful way of describing the things that we do to make ourselves unhappy, like the delusions that we have in day-to-day life. So I feel like I will be thinking about it a long time. So the other reason that I wouldn't reread it is because there was a lot of body fluid stuff that I did not like.
Again, tough sale.
In the first book, and it went down quite a bit in the second and third books, but that's just I don't like those descriptions. So like just for those reasons I wouldn't read it. But yeah, as a whole I did really appreciate the trilogy and how it made me think. Yep.
How's that for a blurb on the book? Lots of body fluid stuff. Varsha.
Lots of body fluids. It made me think.
Oh no!
Those things are not related, but still.
I've been doing a terrible job on your streams lately, Steve.
No, it's good stuff. Yeah, we're gonna see that on an Amazon list somewhere. Like, there's lots of body fluid stuff, and then unquote, and then Varsha. Oh, this is the image. The title image of A War to End All, and I think it's Witchdig in like with his arms spread out. As soon as I saw that, I thought of like a
not
reference.
Sure if it's
I
him.
thought it was Morgan.
Yeah,
was that Morgan?
Yeah, it says
the Kindle said it was Morgan.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
His name is
picture. See.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Oh, there you go. Cool. Yeah, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I love the artwork.
But
really
because
cool.
he's the one standing in front of that beast that comes through the gate, the corpses. It's the front of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets beat and he escapes into the underworld one last time.
That's right.
Yeah, speaking of other things that I loved about this book, I was sort of, when I saw the cover, it's a great cover, but I was kind of dreading the part where we get to it because I'm like, it's going to be a boss fight and it's going to last for 20 pages and I'm not going to enjoy that. We see the monster, our main character sort of escapes and then we're done. It's never mentioned again. All action movies should end like that.
You had mentioned earlier, Varsha, about it being not like full of action scenes, because I kind of zone out during action scenes, and I'm glad it wasn't that.
I really love action scenes, and still, it was entertaining to read. I'm like, he's going to fight this big thing now. He's going to be the god man. He's like, fuck this, I'm out. And
I love
that. That's always in Michael R. Fletcher's writing style. That like if he wants to hightail it, he just hightails it. It's like, yeah, fine, it's done. It feels like twists and turns that are spur of the moment.
Yeah.
And not well thought out, like, oh, and today was the day that he thought about doing this and he was going to do it, and it's like, nope, done. Bye.
I did like that, yeah.
It reads also faster. A lot faster.
Mm. Yeah. Cool. Can you either of you think of anything else?
10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Perfect.
25 out of 25.
Yeah.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Yeah. I think it was a fitting conclusion.
Yeah.
Well,
I liked it. It was a good book.
good stuff.
And a good series. Ooh, I had one more question before we go. Did you guys feel like this, because on the subject of rereading, there's also another reason why I might reread a series is if I feel like a lot of hints were laid down that this is going to happen, and then it doesn't, like I want to go back and see what did I miss, or like how did we get here. So I'm probably very wrong about this, but I didn't feel like this one sort of laid out an ending. This book felt pretty ad hoc or almost standalone-ish. So, yeah, that's why I prefixed this by saying I'm probably wrong. Did you guys feel like it built up to this all along, or that this sort of just happened?
What do you think, Joshua?
I love the ending even more because it's a build up that normally you wouldn't see coming. It's like, instead of a wet fart, just nothing. I mean, yeah. I am still interested in what the obsidian statue where it came from. Is it connected to the other books? So that's gonna keep me busy. But yeah.
Trying to think back on like foreshadowing. I'm sure there's something, but the one thing that came to my mind was when Morgan ascends and he goes looking for the other gods and there are none. Yeah. And he finds nothing. And he expected to find other gods and he's alone. So maybe there, like, I'm sure there's other. I think mostly just the mentions of the other gods, and kind of like rumors about kind of where it originated or what's beyond, or that they were abandoned. Kind of like, it seemed kind of like they were doomed from the beginning. But like specific foreshadowing, I can't think of too many. But maybe it'll come to us.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so I was just curious if it felt that same way, like each book could sort of be just standalone-ish stories at various points in these characters' lives, as opposed to something that we had breadcrumbs for and foreshadowing and a bunch of like intense build-up that it's one connected story.
Yeah,
it read to me as the former rather than the latter, but
I understand that it's the continuing story is with the main three characters in book 1 and 2, and then suddenly you lose them. So that's why I wasn't sure there was going to be a book 3, to be honest. I was content with the ending that Bedecked was like, he's gone and Stalen died and Wichtig is ugly forever. So from book 1 to book 2, I could see where they were going, with the whole Morgan is going to be a god, and then Morgan is going to act some revenge on them because of everything he went through, and he was very angry with Bedekt. But then book 3 was like, but Bedekt isn't here anymore. Stalen is dead. Wichtig, I don't really care about him. He was the lesser of the 3 in the first 2 books for me. He was entertaining, sure, because he's a good speaker and he can fight well. But he was so vain that it felt like a bit too much for me, even though that was exactly what he needed to go for to set that character. And then you get book 3 and like, what is he going to do? But as I mentioned at the beginning of our talk, one of the Doppels, doubt is the one that was like, I see where this is going. He's going to doubt everything, and everything is going to go away. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I started the book. So, in a way, I could see the ending, but you could say the first 2 books are standalone, and then you have the third one. Even though that it finishes, as I said before, perfectly for me.
That'd be good. Good thing to kind of look back on and maybe have a thread on the forum about that, because I'm trying to think of foreshadowing that we may have seen. But cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff, though. I liked it.
Yeah.
So, last question: do you both feel? What's the general feeling you have? Because I kind of walked away feeling almost hopeful at the end, oddly enough. What did you feel? What was your going away?
Thinking about it, Varsha.
Okay. For a book that had the world ending, I was left in an oddly good mood. So maybe I didn't recognize the feeling as hopefulness, but it's like everybody found peace of some sort in the end, and maybe not Stellan, possibly not even Wichtig, but Gehin found peace. Morgan had some huge realizations, and Koenig said some wonderful things that I like, how could I forget, until you brought it up, Steve, that, gave me a lot to think about. And it's just, I told myself the feeling was that I was glad to have read the book, but, like I've had books with bad endings that I wanted to throw out the window. Like, and I don't mean bad endings like, I didn't like the ending. I mean bad endings as in bad things happen to the people. But this one, it didn't upset me. So
yeah, it's hard to put my finger on it as well. I had the same feeling, like I was happy about the ending, not like you, Steve, as in I don't think it was like positive, like, oh, this is a positive ending. No, like I was happy with the ending, and I can't explain it why. Like, this is maybe because it was well put together, that it was something different that I haven't read before, that also most of the time plays a part, that if I read something before, I'm like, oh, so you did this, okay, yeah, fine, sure. But this was different, definitely.
Yeah.
it's also, I think we were talking about this before we started recording. I talked about how I've had difficulty sort of reading a book in like just many long sittings. Like there hasn't been a book that has made me want to do that. Not because I'm reading bad books, it's just that they're also, some of them require me to think or like just do shorter spurts. This one, I read the last, 100 pages immediately after we finished recording last week. So I was also happy for that because I haven't done that in such a long time. Like, I always leave the last 20 pages, whatever. Like, I fall asleep. I've been feeling like an old woman. But now, but I stayed up late to finish this book. So that also made me happy. So
That
there's
is
a lot of
high
unconnected
praise.
things also.
High
That,
praise.
yeah.
Nice. Well, cool. Yeah, it was fun. Fun journey
Yes.
back in this world.
Yeah. Oh, I had a follow-up question
Yeah.
for you, Steve. What about it made you feel hopeful? Sorry.
Yeah.
I think just the message at the end about our flaws define us and kind of embracing them and kind of like how you see yourself is how you see the world. If you see yourself as someone who is like trying to get over on people, you see yourself in the negative way. You see other things negatively. I think kind of like it sounds cheesy, but be the change you want to see kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of, set the example or, if you have a positive outlook, you have you try and do the right things and, you see the world as, you see the positives in things. If you see if you think negatively all the time, then you're going to see the negative in everything all the time. Won't see anything positive. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Me too.
Not always easy.
Now for the fourth time as we try to end this.
No more questions?
No, it's all.
I almost want to find another thing to interrupt with. Just
No, it's all good. It's all good stuff. I think it was a neat ending. I'm happy with it.
Mhm.
I was nervous. I was like, I hope
Yep.
this sounds right. I enjoyed it. Though.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, Joshua, where can people find you if they want to get in touch?
On the page chewing forums.
Cool. And Varsha.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Reading by the Rainy Mountain. If you want to reach out to me, I'm on the Patreon forum.
Yeah, we have other.
The About page has other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I will link also your podcast in the show notes too.
Oh, yeah. My podcast link is also on the YouTube channel About page, but it's called Bright Threads in the Tapestry if you want to go check it out.
Yeah. And so we'll start Prince of Nothing next week, and then we'll be doing Matterhorn every other week. So, yeah. So anyone who wants to join, let's go check out the forum. So until next time, we'll see everyone soon. Watch out for those delusions and those reflections. Bye, everybody.